here in West Texas to introduce you to people.
Let's do a big old hug and make sure y'all are hungry.
People that live in small communities, value connection, and live simply.
But I've been in law enforcement for over 40 years.
These towns, their livelihoods depend on people coming, visiting, and spending money. Do hunters have an impact? That's what we're here to find out. Welcome to West Texas. So one of the things that you realize when you're out here in West Texas is that there's not very much happening. It is a flat landscape. And then you come over here into the Alpine, Marfa, Presidio area. You've got these huge mountains, 5,000 feet essentially. And really this is ranch country. This is cattle country. There's not much else that can happen out here. Ranching and hunting. The ranching lifestyle that you lead, this is a full-time job, right?
Oh, yes. It's 24/7, and if there was 25 hours, it would be 25 hours a day.
Why do you do it then?
Oh my gosh, it is just, it's great. I love it. It's we can see the progression of our changes that we do. It's being out here, you're alone with God, and it's good. It's a nice thing. You don't have traffic. Your traffic kind of gets out of the way for you if you're in close. It's a beautiful place. I can't tell you why we do it. I mean, it's not actually for the money, because the money's not that good sometimes. Sure. But it's a way of life, and I have come to where I really love it. I wasn't born into this. I kind of came to it after the fact, but I don't think I could give it up now. It's just amazing. At the end of the day, this is something gorgeous out here, but it is still a business. We have to make money or it doesn't go any further.
And hunting
yes.
is a sliver of that pie.
Absolutely.
That brings in economic revenue.
I wouldn't even say it's a sliver. It is a very important part of the pie. I mean, it's the sweets, because for us, it's what's over and above. The cattle take care of the day-to-day stuff, but the hunting is kind of, that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I mean, we work for that to happen.
And it's valuable to you.
Very valuable. I mean, I'm not going to say exactly what the dollar sign is, but it helps us do extra stuff.
If somebody out there, and there's lots of them, that say, hey, Wendy, we're going to push to ban hunting. We don't like it. We don't want it anymore. You're not going to have it anymore. Mm-hmm. What would you say to someone like that?
They're ignorant. They're people who don't know.
But you're not a hunter. You said you were a tree hugger earlier.
Well, I'm not gonna, varmints and stuff, I'm fine. I enjoy taking my kids hunting, and I went hunting with my dad. I don't need to do it personally, but that doesn't, I enjoy when people get joy out of it. And it is something that has taught my son, so he has so much more respect for the land and for animals that way. I mean, I feel like you become a better rounded person when you have that in your life. It's not just malicious killing, it is selective hunting.
Talk to me a little bit about the town itself. How many people do you have? How many people do you serve?
About 6,000 people live here, give or take a few. But it's about 6,000, and it stayed relatively constant over the last decade.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 6,000.
And primary economic drivers?
Tourism.
Tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Would you lump hunting under that tourism umbrella?
Yes, it would have to go under that umbrella. Yeah.
Do you hunt?
No.
Have you ever hunted?
No. Will I ever? No.
What's your opinion on hunting?
For me?
Yeah.
I love animals. My degree was in biology, and I know some hunters are biologists.
I'm a biologist.
Yes, and I can't. I realize, I mean, I'm not dumb. I realize the importance of hunting for our economy. My dad hunts, my son hunts, my daughter-in-law hunts. I'm not against hunters or hunting. I just cannot be the one behind the bullet. I ran over a tarantula the other day.
Broke your heart.
Yes. I mean, that's just
Well, you're
who I am.
You're exactly the kind of person that we need, though, because there's so many things in this world that you may not want to do,
Right.
but it's okay for other people to do it.
Yes, it is. It's perfect. I mean, it's good for alpine.
How is it good for alpine?
Economically, hunters come in, they stay in hotels, they eat in our restaurants. Hopefully they shop in some of our little shops. They spend time here. Of course, it's going to be good for the outfitter. It's going to be good for them. They're going to hire guides. It's going to be good for the guides. It's just overall good economically.
What's driving most of the economy here? Like, what would be driving the economy here in your hotel?
Well, I battle the chain hotels, so what I get is a lot of locals that send. I do have a lot of outfitters that are sending their hunters that stay with us because there's not lodges on the ranches. But it's a lot of government workers, which is a big portion, construction, fiber optic guys that have stayed with us forever. So it's a lot. It's kind of a mix.
And hunting's embraced here, you would think, right?
It
terms of
always
the
has
lifestyle?
been. It always has been, but there is a shift that's going on, and that's why I was saying the heritage of what I'm trying to tell people about, that they can merge without, because you have a lot of people coming in from the Austin area, New York. Marfa's full of a lot of foreign, people from out of country, and also just out of state, New York, all the Austin area, and it has been a little bit hard because people will walk in and, as you saw when you came in, there's a big aoudad on the wall.
Yep.
People don't realize that's a replica, even though there was one that died. But they don't understand what the aoudad are doing. So we actually have to conserve the land or we won't have the land. And so I try to educate people like that. They start walking out the door. I'm like, whoa, 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 slow down. Let me educate you on why hunting is important and what it does for our area.
And what does it do for this area?
It's bringing, more people in. Otherwise, I think we'd be dying on the vine right now. It's bringing people in that normally would never come. I think we are some of the last low fence, true wild hunting left.
Because you have ranches that are 100-section ranches, 60,000 acres, 130,000 acres, true open range.
And so we always tell people when they come to hunt, if you're, you got the mural behind us is part of the ranch with the mountains, and we're the Blue Mountain is at Old Blue is at a little over 6,000 feet. So it's you're gonna go hiking. You're going to go and hunt. Very rarely do you drive and see something right there in the road. Now with the drought, you have the aoudad have come down. The elk are closer in to where we are, and that's hurt because they're eating, the aoudad we're so overgrown. Oh my God, we're so overgrown with aoudad that they will eat, they'll eat the cattle's food, fuel that's on the ground. So anyway, but it helps our economy, I think, especially for the ranchers.
Talk to me about small town economics.
All right, so tourism, for example, that's our largest economic sector, and it's very important. Hotels, restaurants, local shops, everything kind of feeds into hotels, restaurants, local shops, money in pockets of locals. So that would be one sector. Then we have the restaurant sector, you could think of it, the hotel sector, hunting sector. We have historic tourism. So all those pieces kind of go together into an economy. And when you're a small town, one of them goes, and then it becomes more unstable than, say, where I'm from, the Houston area.
Would you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? You're okay with that? Okay, perfect. I'm going to tell the cameraman, okay? Hi, ma'am, how are you? There's a lot of hunting that happens here in West Texas. A lot of odd-ad hunting. And it has a really big economic impact for little towns like this. Come on, ma'am, come on. You're not disturbing us.
Hello, Brenda.
Hi, how are you?
Brenda's a local.
I am a
Yes, she is. Yes,
Fantastic.
Oh,
You used to work here?
yes.
Are you from Marfa, Brenda?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
Born and raised in Marfa.
Yes, sir.
Have you got, do you mind if I ask you a question? You look beautiful this morning.
Oh, yeah, right.
You do.
Sure. She
always
always does.
Have you seen the impact of hunting in and around Marfa on
Hunting
the
of what?
economy? Aoudad, quail,
We
mule
don't have so
deer.
much quail anymore because the freeze kind of got them all that year when they got them. But the audads they're not really in the area anymore hardly.
Yeah,
Because they're being really, it's open season all year round.
open season on them. Do you,
Get
do
my
you,
skinny side, dude.
we are getting your skinny side. Do you see the impacts of people coming to Marfa, coming to West Texas because they're coming here to hunt?
When I managed the Hotel Riata Inn for 5 years, and I had 2 hunters that would come in from Colorado
Every year?
every year,
Every year.
every 4 months, more or less.
Wow.
And they would bring doctors, lawyers from all over the United States
So there was
to
certain,
hunt.
so you
'Cause
certainly,
it's there after the trophy.
Yeah.
Because you can't eat the meat.
yeah. Well, some people eat the meat
Well, if you're starving.
if you're
It's not really
starving.
that great.
Thank you, ladies. Yes, ma'am, you too. You know what? It's the randomness of people, right? When you just have random conversations, they're not set up, they're not prepped. It's just a real, honest, genuine conversation about their opinions and thoughts on hunting and its impacts. So that's exactly what we want to do. Let's go do some more. So born and raised here in Alpine?
Born and raised right here in Brewster County. My family came here, I believe now my grandkids are 7th generation, so I'm a 5th generation from Brewster County.
What is, since you're 7th generation on this land essentially, what does the land mean to people of Alpine or people like you?
Well, like me, we have a lot of new people move here. I don't know what their feelings are. They're obviously moved here because they think it's pretty and beautiful and a good environment, but the actual land and country, I have a place below Marathon, and that's where I tell my friends, that's where my church is. I go out in the country and I believe there's more God out there than you can ever imagine because you see so much and it feels so good. And the atmosphere that we have and the smell of the greasewood, everything when you step out after a good rain, it makes you feel good, to be out in the country like that. We have about 7 different climates as far as landscape goes between Jeff Davis County and Big Bend National Park. You go from desert to pinyon pines. So it's got a lot for a lot of people to see.
And phenomenal wildlife.
Exactly, yes. And I've noticed that, I've noticed now we're seeing elk where we've never seen them before, including my place, and I'm pretty far, out in the desert, and I've got elk drinking all my water at night and
Wow.
eating all my deer feed, so they're there and they're coming on strong.
Talk to me about like the economics of a small town like Alpine. What's driving the economy here?
Well,
Alpine?
tourism is our biggest, we don't have oil or gas, so tourism is a big part of us, and especially because we have the national park and then Terlingua, Lajitas, and Studi Butte. There's a lot of river property there for people, outfitters like to take people up and down the river. The time of year that we're coming into is now our hunting seasons, and then the hunters that come here they come from different places, and they usually have a lot of money, and so they spend it, in at night. Not all of them eat at the hunting camp. A lot of them like to come into town, eat a good steak, so they do provide a lot of that. And plus, they buy, like I say, I own a gun store. They'll come in and buy ammunition from us, which, and not many rifles. A lot of rifles are shipped to us because they fly in from other states, and then we just book them out to them here so that they didn't have to. We have a couple outfitters now that are doing custom rifles, and they're shipping us to our business and stuff like that, which, all that stuff we pay taxes on, and we have to feed that sales tax and stuff to the state of Texas, but they bring it back to us eventually.
Yeah. This is ranching country.
Yes.
This is cattle country. But it's tough to make a good living in the cattle business today.
It is, and we have some people that very few cow-calf operations anymore. A lot of them are just feeder steers. They bring in, feed them up, and then ship them off. That seems to be the most profitable way they're making any money right now, just feeding them up. A lot of these ranchers don't keep cows like they used to. You used to see a lot. All of them have a little bit on there, but there's nothing like they used to have.
I think when people think about we need to ban hunting, we need to get rid of hunting, it doesn't do any good for you in your business, in your gun business. Doesn't do anything good for the city of Alpine. Doesn't do anything good for the ranchers.
No, and hunting's not. Nobody advocates just going out and shooting to kill and stuff like that. But like you say, a lot of our hunters that do come out and do trophy hunt, they do donate their meat to one of our in fact, the taxidermist here. And then when the taxidermist fills up full of meat, she gives me a call, and we go over there and we distribute it to people in town, because in my business I know who needs food.
Right.
It's not very big, Alpine Marathon and stuff like that, so we know who needs it. And then we have people in other towns, the smaller towns we have, who know people who need it. So they load us up on deer meat and elk meat, and we take it and we distribute it out to all these people. They all get enough too.
You cannot overemphasize, and I think you can't overemphasize it, but it's also something that we continually overlook, are these just little dots on the landscape of impact. Kids in a random primary school that are benefiting through a 4-H program that's funded by a hunter's banquet. A random family who is in need because they don't have enough money to support themselves, yet they get given a donation of venison from you. Revenue generated through your gun shop because people are shipping guns here. The rancher that's on the landscape that's saying, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to make ends meet this year if it wasn't for the 6 figures that are coming in because I'm selling 10 hunts on my property. That is an economic asset that I'm going to sustain through time. Not take it out, not wipe it out,
No,
but grow it.
it's a big revenue for them. And when you talk about 6 figures, I'm talking about 6 figures that begin with a better number than 1 at the front.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
they can make a lot of money. These people have, if you talk about all the feed they buy and all the stuff they buy to keep these stuff.
Oh, that's right.
And there's people out there who are willing to pay the big money to come hunt. Look what a ram hunt cost. The $85,000.
For a desert bighorn, yeah.
Yep. That's a pretty good chunk of change, for a guy to come out and hunt. But some people have that kind of money, and I hate to say it like this, we're willing to take it.
Sure, of course.
It's gonna help whoever did it and keep these ranches going. One thing we don't want to see is these ranches all broke up and sold out, because that's the beauty of it, having large, 300 section ranches and 200 and 100 section. That's a nice place.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you're saying things that I don't think I've even considered. You've got this 6-figure number coming into a ranch, that money isn't just squirreled away. It's not just stuck in a bank account. It's used here at the local co-op to buy the cattle feed that needs the car feed. It's buying lucerne, it's buying hay, it's
even deer feed. They feed their deer and their corn and the proteins. They buy it at our local feed stores. So everybody, there's a benefit now, you know, even to the grocery stores, you know, because some of these people that do have hunting camps, the outfitters hire cooks, and the cooks go down here, and I've seen them many times just filling their baskets full of meat and maybe some beer or something to take out to these hunting camps. So, you know, there's economics that go along with it. And if you've ever had chicken fried steak make of elk, it's the best.
Best.
It's the best. A little healthier too.
Yeah.
I think.
What is the drivers of economy here in Visalia?
No, not. That's one of the downfalls here. But you learn to live. You learn
There's
to.
just not a lot of economic investment in here.
The pace of life is save it for a rainy day, and then comes a rainy day and you splurge or do good, and then you happy. But here the economy is rough. It's you know, we get you know, here at the restaurant, tourism is awesome. We have right about, I don't know, 80-something miles, 100 miles close is Big Bend National Park.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people, believe it or not, with COVID hitting us hard and everything. It's isolated, it's vast. So a lot of people, you know, common sense was to stay away from each other. I had people that practically moved out here just to say, you know what, I rented this Airbnb for a month. I opted to not be around people. I come from the Houston area, Dallas area, big metropolis, you know, congested people, or you know, we're the community. And they're like, I love it that I've been here 3 weeks and I haven't seen nobody in the front of my porch. I've seen javelinas, I've seen aoudad, deer, mule deer, you know, the wildlife, but not, and I'm healthy. And we get that a lot out here. It's just vast. It's a desert. There's nothing. But yeah, we get a lot of tourists. We depend on
You get a lot of
tourists.
hunting tourists?
We do. We get we have also a nice place. It's called Cibolo Creek Ranch.
Yep, heard about that.
And it's where West, and that's where we met, West, and they bring a lot of outfitters, and you know, first thing, same thing, tight community. So what's there to do? You need to go visit the Bean, you know, cafe. Ask for Hector. They come in here. I'm so and so, and so sent me. I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah. So it's really good. It's a nice little tight community. We take care of each other.
One of the things that I think about is these small communities. If you look at like the money that comes into these communities, you can sort of make it look like a pie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I would think that hunting
Somewhere
and
in
hunters spending dollars in here is a slice of that pie.
Right. Yes.
What happens if a small slice of pie, like hunting, doesn't come into a community like
It
this?
does affect us because, you know, it's not just the restaurants. We get the hunters come in, they rent out the motels or Airbnbs if they're going to stay here. So it is very beneficial for the town. And once again, we just learn to live without it, but it does hurt. It does affect. If hunting was not part of us out here, I don't know. I mean, grocery store, y'all come and hunt. Sometimes y'all don't have or y'all are going to be out hunting out in the desert or whatnot, and y'all don't have time to come down and sit down. Maybe you'll get a decent meal where you sit down at a restaurant and once a day, or maybe every other day you come down. So then you pack up lunch. You do your lunch. You know,
grocery
you go to
shopping,
your grocery store, and that means a lot to us. I mean, it helps out. It's the community that y'all come in here and y'all are just doing your thing, but it is flourishing for us. We see y'all, we love you. We love y'all down here. And they're like, here comes hunters. And then also, you know, just employ, you know, I don't know how much y'all did the hunters come in, but we have people like the outfitters that are local here and say, you know what, I have my guys dress the deer, do help out, maybe a cook at the campfires, or you know, it is like you said, a piece of a pie, but it's very beneficial for us.
Yeah, I talk about it as like connecting dots.
Yes.
So Cibolo Creek Ranch is a really big ranch. here in West Texas.
Yes, sir.
How big is Cibolo?
Cibelo's just under 35,000 acres. So for out here, it's more average.
Average?
Yes, sir.
What's that, probably 40-something sections?
Yes, sir. Yeah, around there. Yeah, over 40, and our two neighbors on each side are 100,000 acres apiece.
I'll be very direct in my question. If you couldn't hunt on Cibolo Creek Ranch, would Cibolo Creek Ranch exist?
It would exist. The big issue would be a lot of our hunting is for conservation and overpopulation reasons. If we couldn't hunt, Cibolo Creek Ranch, it would cease to exist in the way that it works now. We'd have way less grass. We wouldn't be able to run cattle. Most of our ranch revenue would be taken away.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the cherry on a sundae in good years. It's the stuff that you need to survive in bad years.
Right. Yeah, the best thing about hunting out here is it's essentially drought proof. Cattle ranching is not. All dad are going to live whether it's raining or not. The animals out here are adapted to drought. And that's what makes them, one, you have to do population control and practice good conservation because they're going to repopulate. But cattle ranching it's anybody's game.
Tell me a little bit more about conservation with aoudad, because really those two things typically don't ever go in tandem, right? There is really nothing you're doing on the land to benefit aoudad, but really it's more population of the aoudad on stewarding your land, right?
Right, yes, sir. So aoudad are so prolific with the way they breed. Their gestation periods are short. They twin over half the time. So that's something you really have to keep in control.
Give me some of the economics.
Right, so the nice thing about Cibolo is we have one of the premier resorts, lodges, whatever you want to call it, in Texas. And so what hunting does for the employees at the lodge, it expands our audience tenfold because instead of just having your regular tourists, now we apply to hunters. And so all of our employees, we've doubled our employees once we got into the hunting business. And right now we have about 40 employees, which where we're at is a good portion of the county.
100%.
Yes, sir. And so it's taken a business that revolved around tourism and agritourism, if you want to call it that, and it's doubled our enterprise.
Talk to me about the impacts of those hunters that come to you on surrounding towns, like Presidio and Marfa and Alpine.
Right. So really what it does is a place like Marfa has its audience. You've been there.
Yep.
It's got this new movement.
Yep.
We associate more with Presidio, and Presidio is not really a town that's seen very much. But now with all of our hunters that come in, we got over 150 hunts a year now. And so we bring all those guys to Presidio if they need gas and supplies, and they've really gotten to see that border town and see what it has to offer. But it brings in, hunting is a massive part of our portion of the county.
The economics of the
county. Yes, sir, the economics, it's massive.
What do you think drives the economy of Fort Davis?
Fort Davis is a tourist town.
Yeah, tourism.
It's a tourist town. So, a lot of the people here, I'm not saying make their living off that, but we get a lot of tourism here, especially the summertime. The town's got lots of people coming through, so the restaurants do good and the other things like that.
What about hunting tourism?
Lots of it, yeah. Once again, Alpine is more the hub, 20 miles away. More of that traffic goes through Alpine, but we get a lot of it here too because there's a lot of those folks hunt right here.
There's good ranches to hunt around Fort Davis.
You bet. Yeah, lots of hunting right here. We see a lot of those hunters go through here, day and night. Stop and eat. They'll trade here or eat. Grab lunch or grab gas or spend the night or whatever they're doing.
I would think that all those little bits and pieces are probably more meaningful in a town like Fort Davis than they are even in Alpine.
You might be right on that. It's important.
Just because
smaller town.
Every
dollar counts.
Every dollar counts.
Yeah, for sure. If we didn't have the hunting, especially if we didn't have the aoudad, we really probably wouldn't be in much business here. You know, like
And
I
it would
said,
hurt those small communities, I would think.
to some extent, for sure, because there's not, you know, we don't have the oil field, we don't have the interstate, you know. There's probably other examples, but there's not a whole lot going on, you know, in these small towns, ranching, farming. There might be, you know, there are some people that live here that go and work in the oil field, you know, 50 miles away. They drive back and forth or whatever, but that's not a factor here in our community, in our, you know, in our economy. So, yeah, without it, shoot, it'd be slower. There's no doubt.
West Texas is a great example of what hunting is doing for the economics of these small towns.
Yeah.
We could pick ourselves up right now and drop ourselves in the same sort of rural landscape in South Africa. I can almost guarantee you the same thing's happening there.
Really. Same scenario.
Same
concept.
hunting, benefiting, you know, grocery stores, hotels,
Mm-hmm.
restaurants.
I
Pick it
cannot-
up, do the same thing in New Zealand. Same thing's happening.
Yeah.
This is just an example of, hey, let's show you. There's silence out here, hey?
Almost deafening.
This is what you love about it?
No, it's one of the many things. I mean, this is honestly where I feel closest to God.
And this is your living. This is what you've made your living in.
Yep. For almost 18 years.
Guide, outfitter, for hunters.
Yes. Yeah, it's I mean, this is what God's blessed me with. He's allowed me to make a living. I mean, this is my office, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is my office. I don't work at a desk. I don't sit at a computer. I'm not in traffic. The only traffic I have out here is the cows.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
This is peaceful. The money that's brought, you know, we're out here for Aoudad, and the money that's brought to West Texas is spread across so many people. I mean, Robert, my buddy, he's like a brother that I've never had. He comes from South Carolina.
He's your guide and cook.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, he guides pronghorn and he cooks for me. So the money goes back to South Carolina for him. We buy groceries at all of the local grocery stores. We go get our hair cut at local hair salons. I see the lives that it changes, the joy on people's faces, and the money that it puts in their pocket, and it's mind blowing to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm when you approached me with this project, I was really glad because, you know, people think of hunters as just killers, and we're so far from that. Or ethical hunters are so far from that. I know there's bad apples in any environment, any profession.
Sure.
But ethical hunters that are doing it right,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy the impact that they have on the land and the animals and the economy. I mean, I've heard numbers that hunting in Texas alone is $1 billion industry.
Oh, I can imagine.
And to know that I'm not a big operation, so I'm a small part of that. But just to see the joy that it brings the people that I do touch, you know, just out here in West Texas, that's really cool to me.
What would you do if you weren't in the outfitting business or guiding business? Construction?
Really struggle. Really struggle. I was in construction for a while, but yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, as you can see, this means a lot to me.
You're getting emotional.
Yeah.
I bet you get a lot more emotional, maybe a little angry if someone says, I'm going to take this away from you.
They'd have a hell of a fight.
You're basing your livelihood on this. You're deriving an income. You're deriving a job. But you're also, how many people do you employ?
3 or 4 throughout, well, 5 maybe throughout the year. Most of them are ex-military. And brings them a lot of peace too. I think most people think it's money driven, and for me it never was. Never was.
At the end of the day, the wildlife on this land is an economic asset to you.
Yes, absolutely. We need to protect it just like we protect the cattle.
If you think beyond this ranch, to the Marfa of the world, the Alpine, the Fort Davis, the Presidio, what do you think the impact of hunting is in this area?
Oh my gosh, I think it's you know, I think probably ranching now is probably 50%, and I would say hunting is probably 30 to 35%. And then there's just a trickle of other little things in there. But you have, it's very desirable to be out in this area to do your West Texas mule deer hunt. People talk about that. You know, we have elk, the aoudad, and just the regular varmint hunts. And it's, I think these little towns are already dwindling, and I think they would probably disappear without this.
For the last frontier out here that we're trying to hold on to.
Well, especially we were at a ranch between Marfa and Valentine, and they're a cow-calf operation. And it was, to her, like she was making do. They were doing as good as they possibly can with the cow-calf operation, but the hunting revenue on top was just almost like a rainy day fund.
Yeah.
It was like, we know we're going to make it good this year. It's going to be a much better year than normal, or we're still going to be able to survive to next year because we've got this added, you know, sometimes six-figure bonus that goes on top of it.
It's not killing. Hunting is not about killing. It's about hunting. And you may go home with something and you may not. And that's the kind of hunting that we actually 100%. Do. We don't just go to kill just because we need the money. It's not about that. It's
and you're also stewards of that wildlife.
Absolutely.
Because to you, that wildlife is an economic asset. It's something you want to see sustain into the future. It's not like you want to just wipe them out because then there's nothing left.
You have to.
What would you say if someone really did a petition and was like, man, you know, nobody needs to hunt these aoudad anymore?
Oh, I don't know. That, you know, politics and that's kind of above my head. But what would I say? I'd say they're crazy. You know, just the amount of money that those things bring into to the communities, kind of like what we're talking about, to the landowners. You know that they have kept a lot of these ranches going. I think off the hunting. You know, the aoudad hunting. When it droughts out and people got to sell all their cows, and our deer numbers are pretty poor anymore. You know, we don't have a lot of deer like they used to. I'm not saying we don't have deer, but I think everybody agrees that the numbers are down. Those aoudad have kind of kept the hunting deal going.
There's certainly a massive economic asset to landowners.
Oh boy, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Could you imagine a time where there's lots of people that say hunting needs to disappear?
Oh, no,
it needs to be banned.
What? No.
No.
You all are against that. No, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Well, you have to hunt.
So getting rid of hunting is not a good thing for West Texas.
What's your opinion about it?
No, I think it's a great thing. I think, for instance, like aoudad hunting. Aoudad hunting, it's an invasive species. It's a non-native. There's probably 5,000 of them killed in West Texas every year. And the average cost of that hunt is $5,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, my friend from Colorado gets per person $10,000.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
$500,
Robbie.
please, sir.
I would have bought your Sprite and your...
Well, shit, give me the cash for it. $500. Y'all be safe going back.
So you're not a hunter.
No,
You're okay with hunting.
I'm okay with hunting.
And you're the mayor of a small town,
Right.
that is very dependent on economies coming here, people spending money.
Right, yes.
What would you say to someone who doesn't live here, who says, we are very much in the business, we want to promote the banning of hunting? We want it gone. We don't think it helps people. We don't like it. We want it gone.
Well, you do have groups of people like that. I haven't encountered them here, but we do have groups of people like that across the country. No, I would fight against that. Being in Alpine, being the mayor of Alpine, I don't speak for all of council. We come together as a unit and we vote certain things, and I would actively debate that we need to continue allowing hunting.
But it's more important to, I would say from your perspective, it's more important to the people that you love.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, so when somebody comes into town who is a hunter, they're going to spend money buying the feed, staying in hotels, going to restaurants, getting gas here, buying snacks at the gas stations, going to the outfitters, paying their fee there, which helps to provide the funds for the outfitters to hire guides.
Yep.
And so if you connect all those dots, that's a pretty large circle.
Did you know that this series is called Connecting the Dots?
No, I didn't know that. Seriously?
Seriously.